Hello, my name is Scott Kettwiesel. I'm the lead mechanic here at the Hase shop. Some of you receive recall notices from Hase about your Kettwiesels. What they have is issues with the axle ends. So for today I'm going to go through and try to show you how to take this apart and put it back together so you or your local mechanic can do this work. To speed up a little bit, I already released the seat, moved it forward, and I pulled the fenders off. Next thing you want to do is go in and loosen the bolts that hold the wheels in place. What this bolt does is tightens around the bearing in there, keeps the wheel from moving left and right. We're going to loosen both of them up so we have them done ahead of time. Next we're going to take a 6mm wrench, Allen wrench, stick it in. There's a bolt inside here. For those of you who have never removed your wheels, this is how you get the wheel off. You see, the wheel comes right off. We're going to take the rotor and move the brake rotor out of the way. Set that aside. Take the wheel and reinstall it without the rotor in place. What we're going to do is use the wheel for leverage to help remove the ends. Next, we're going to take a 10mm Allen wrench. It will fit in the end of the cassette. The cassette is the end of the axle. I'm going to use the back of the frame as for leverage to protect the paint. Put a rag around it. I'm going to take the wheel. I'm going to turn it. Now these are left-hand threads. So if it looks like I'm turning the wrong way, it's because it's left-hand threads. Start to screw it. Take it off. Now on this son, the cassette is coming off. Which is good news. We want that off if we can. And the cassette's removed. Set the cassette aside. Now we're going to take and try to pull the wheel with the axle out. And it'll come out with the axle attached. Now we have to remove the axle from the bolt on the end. To do that, we're going to take a pipe wrench and attach it again. This is left-hand threads. Let's see what we'll do. It may take a little effort to get those off. Once you have the axle removed, set the axle aside. Now we just take our 6mm wrench, go in, and remove the end from the wheel. Now this is a 2013 bike, so this one's a little longer than what yours is. Once you have that done, you can take and reinstall this back on there. We're going to go in reverse order. Take the new part, install it on there. At this point you take the axle, thread your axle back on. Now I'm not going to get too worried about tightening this up here at this point, because once we put the bike back together, if you sit on the bike, hold the brakes, and try to pedal, you will tighten all this up. Once we have that side repaired, I want to have access through here to get to the other side. So we loosen this bolt up. We're going to do the same thing we did. Remove the wheel, and then remove the rotor. Again, At this point, we can try to put the wheel back on to see if we can remove this. Simpler way to remove it, to get this out of here, so once you have this apart, let's take a length of PVC pipe, place it in this end of the axle. Slide in. This point, we're going to take a hammer and start tapping on it. And we drove it out. Once you're done with that, you can take a crescent wrench on here, lock this into a vise or back onto the wheel, and take it apart. You'll have, from the bearing out, is what you're going to have separate. Put the pieces back together, we'll reinstall the wheel. Reinstallation here, get the bearing there started. Take our hammer, drive it back into place. Now at this point, don't drive this bearing all the way in, because when we put this back together, we put the wheel on here, get the brake rotor on here, we will adjust it so it comes halfway, pretty much within the brake. Take your brake rotor, the arms in the brake rotor always point forward. Slip into the caliper. Yeah, I'm not in far enough yet. Slip it in there. If you look, we'll line the holes up. Again. Wheel, bring it back into place. And tighten the wheel down on really good. This point, where if you look through there, it's rubbing a little bit. That's just going to be a brake adjust to correct this. Now we'll take and tighten this bolt back up. We have that one tight. This, other than the brake adjust, this side is done. Going back to the other side, our wheel and axle. Slide it back into place. I'm just barely starting the axle of the bearing into place. We'll take our cassette again, bring it back, chain up on top of it. I'm turning backwards this time, just tightening everything up. I'm going to take our 10mm wrench, put it back in. Again, we're going to use the frame for leverage. Put the wrench in there, start to turn. We're tightening up the cassette on the end of the axle and the wheel on the end of the axle. There. Back out. Remove this wheel. Take our brake rotor. Again, The arms go face the direction of travel. Get it lined up like we did on the other side. Reinstall the wheel. Wheel's nice and tight. This is nice and quiet. The brake's already adjusted for us. To take our 5mm wrench, tighten this bolt back in. Slight bit of drag. Just need to do a minor brake adjust. So that's how you replace the axles ends on the Kettwiesel. If you have any questions, you can always call the Hase shop at 1-800-233-4340. Thank you very much.